Good morning, Rob Green from GRM here. How are you? We're here, very, very sunny Cape Town. Not quite ready to give up the jumper just yet. It's Monday morning. It's Monday the 9th of October, and we are bursting through to the year end, and I hope everybody else is as well. For those in the law who are listening to this across South Africa, I've just literally made the final change to our legal remuneration report. 28 pages long, breakdown of what people are being paid in practice, what people are being paid in-house and at alternative legal service providers. It's a 10-month-long study of field research. We interview people from small one-person shops all the way up to the biggest firms, internationals and the big five. So there's a vast array of salaries and bonuses paid within that. There's a multitude of different structures within that. Very, very interesting reading. And that will be coming out very shortly on our Substack, globallegalmarket.substack.com. If you haven't already signed up, sign up. It's a brilliant newsletter, even if I do say so myself. But today I really wanted to touch on something called the Peter Principle. Some of you will have known it. Some will have learned it in your business degrees and your MBAs. Some of you will be talent acquisition experts and HR people who will also be very, very familiar with it. The Peter Principle was invented, if you like, by Lawrence J. Peter in 1969. The book was entitled, I think it was called The Peter Principle, published by William Morrow and Company. And it goes on, it basically it observes hierarchy within business, right? And it looks at the level of retrospective incompetence. I know that sounds a bit harsh because we are all amazing. But what it looks at, it really is how people have in all companies. So it's not just law, it's across all industries, how people start to do well and then they get promoted like this. Success, promotion, success, promotion, success, promotion, until the point that they get so high that they fail. And we see that a lot in business, all of us. If you are listening to this, be honest with yourself, because I can be. We have limitations, right? There are certain things that we cannot do, whether it be working in corporate, managing a staff complement of 2,000 people, or managing one person, or managing one budget, or managing 10 budgets. We're all made very differently. And it's not to mean that we're not very good at certain things. It means that certain roles that we have or that people are put into, they're not quite ready for. They don't have necessarily the right training. They may just not have the right attributes for it. So the Peter Principle deals with that. And I would advise anyone to look for the book. It's available on Takealot for those of you who shop on Takealot. I have just ordered it, but I know the principle anyway from my previous studies, but I have literally just this morning ordered it as well. And I think it's really, really relevant to the legal market. And I'm not going to talk about South Africa in this example. I'm going to talk about Hong Kong, somewhere a city, as many of you know, a few years ago, was the 5th largest economy in the world. Somewhere I spent nearly 9 years of my career. And what we saw in the legal market was professionals, young professionals, being promoted far too quickly. Most of the time, if I can generalize, because they had exceptional drafting skills in Putonghua, so traditional and simplified Chinese. The client base within many of the international and local big local law firms in Hong Kong was becoming more and more mainland Chinese. Therefore, the client was really insisting on having the documentation drafted in Chinese faultlessly. And there were a small group, and I say small in terms of the overall percentage of the number of lawyers in Hong Kong, there were a small percentage of people that could actually draft in the 2 versions of Chinese. And they would, and then obviously what would happen typically is that they were given a lot of responsibility in their current firm. Then they were headhunted and promoted. Then they were given responsibility. Then they were headhunted by another firm, and then it kept going up and up and up and up and up and up, as you'll see in the Peter Principle, to a point where after about 6 years, many people were being put into positions of seniority, whether it be equity partner or another position that they simply weren't ready for and they weren't trained for. And it's not to say that eventually many of them wouldn't have been able to do it. But what we saw was people being pushed into a position because of certain skills and client demands that they maybe weren't ready for yet and hadn't been given the right training for. Okay, so what did that mean? Well, it led to a brain drain. It really did. The stats are there. I mean, you can look yourself on LinkedIn if you like, but as people who were working in that the job market at that time, I can tell you now, people left the industry. They either went in-house, which is a typical move, or they just left the law altogether. And we're talking about hundreds of people, young professionals, who just felt, when we interviewed them, that they were out of their depth. And that is a real shame. So the Peter Principle by Lawrence J. Peter is a management principle that we see come into effect in many industries and in many countries. And I fear a little bit that we're starting to see it in the South African legal market as well, where certain young junior lawyers are for one reason or other, a myriad of reasons, are looked upon favorably by their firm. The firm is very fearful of losing them, so thinks, well, there's only one or two ways I can do this. I can either promote them and give them a lot more responsibility, or I can give them humongous pay rises, which causes big problems within the firm because then they're often at the same level as a colleague, but being paid a lot more. And it's not because of not because of meritocracy, not because they're performing better, but they have certain skills or certain attributes that give them the reason for those promotions. So I just think it's worth talking about the Peter Principle. I think it's worth being aware of. I've seen it in the recruitment and executive search industry as well, all the way back 20 odd years ago in London. If you had any semblance of talent, you were thrown into management very, very quickly because the firm didn't want to lose you. So they just felt that they should give you more responsibility. And suddenly the best billers and the best fee earners were suddenly managing 6 people. And that's actually not the way to go about it. But look, it's a big, big topic, lots to discuss. But I really, really want to get it out there to law firms across South Africa that be wary of the Peter Principle. It would be doing your firm and your colleague, your employee, a massive disservice if you push them forward into positions that they are not quite ready yet. You need to be looking at their training and development before you think about worrying about whether they're going to lose them or not. I've always said this, if you're going to make someone a partner one day, make sure that they're ready to be a partner because they'll enjoy their job a lot more and you will get a lot more out of it as well. And ultimately will the clients. But we really want young professionals in the legal market to be really well armed with the right skills and the right experience before they're pushed into positions of responsibility. Otherwise, you will lose them. And there will be a humongous attrition from the industry of very, very skilled people. And that will be a huge shame and a massive waste. Okay, I'm not going to go on about that anymore, but look it up, the Peter Principle. We've got an attrition report coming out very, very soon. I'd really like you to see that. Sign up to our Substack, Global Legal Market.substack.com. That's where the attrition report talking about the Peter Principle and the salary survey, the remuneration survey will be housed. Have a great Monday. Have a great October. Enjoy yourselves. Get in touch with me very soon. The team's coming in about 10 minutes and we're going to have a great Monday. So see you very soon.